The unwanted gift. The immense hangar bay of Orbital Station Phoenix fell silent as Captain Maya Larson and her team of engineers stood before what the Galactic Alliance representatives called their generous welcoming gift. The Medusan ambassador, Zillith, made no effort to hide the slight twitch of amusement in his translucent tendrils as he gestured toward the vessel. As per Admission Protocol 7.2, we present humanity with a ship from our fleet, demonstrating our commitment to your integration into the Alliance, Zillith announced, his voice translator failing to mask the condescension. The Horizon's dawn is now yours. Maya circled what remained of the Tetrian-class cruiser, her trained eyes cataloging every dent, crack, and missing component. The ship looked like it had survived a black hole and barely lived to tell the tale. Its hull was scorched from bow to stern, with visible stress fractures along the port nacelles. At least 3 propulsion nodes were completely missing, and what remained of the weapons systems were clearly non-functional. "This is practically scrap," Dr. Eliza Chen, Maya's chief engineer, whispered. "They can't seriously expect us to." "On behalf of Earth Command, we accept this generous gift with gratitude," Maya interrupted loudly, her face betraying nothing as she extended her hand toward Zillith. "The Horizon's dawn will proudly serve humanity." The Medusan's tendrils rippled with barely contained delight. "We expect an operational demonstration within 1 standard cycle. Alliance protocols, you understand." After the Alliance delegation departed, leaving behind nothing but the access codes to a ship that barely functioned, Maya gathered her team in what remained of the cruiser's command center. "They think they've put us in our place," she said, her voice echoing in the gutted space. "They handed us garbage to keep us busy, while they continue to restrict our access to their technology and resources. Captain, with all due respect, this thing won't even achieve stable orbit," Lieutenant Commander Jackson Park, her tactical officer, protested. "The power core is operating at 12% capacity, life support is minimal, and the navigation systems are from 3 generations ago." Maya smiled, a slow, confident grin that her crew had learned to recognize. "They made one critical mistake." "What's that, Captain?" asked Chen. "They gave it to humans." Earth's admission to the Galactic Alliance had been reluctant at best. Despite humanity's rapid technological advances, the older species viewed them as impulsive, unpredictable, and dangerously creative. Alliance species valued tradition and incremental progress. Humans reimagined and reinvented with alarming frequency. It made the established powers uncomfortable. Restrictions on technology sharing had been written directly into Earth's admission treaty, ostensibly for safety reasons. What the Alliance didn't anticipate was how these limitations would fuel rather than hinder human innovation. Within days, Maya had assembled a team of Earth's finest engineers, programmers, and theoretical physicists. They established a round-the-clock operation inside the shipyard, with crew members sleeping in makeshift quarters among disassembled ship components. "We're not just fixing this ship," Maya announced during their first briefing. "We're reimagining it. Nothing stays unless it serves a purpose. Nothing goes in unless it's the best we can build." Chen's engineering team began by completely stripping the interior, salvaging only the most basic structural elements. Meanwhile, Dr. Vikram Singh, their propulsion specialist, studied the antiquated drive systems. These Tetrian drives operate on principles similar to our quantum fold technology, but with efficiency losses of nearly 70%. He explained, projection schematics hovering above the briefing table. "If we replace the entire paradigm, not just the components, we can achieve speeds the original designers never contemplated." Park raised concerns about defensive capabilities. "They've removed every weapon system down to the power conduits." "Good," Maya replied with a smile that confused her tactical officer. "That gives us room to work without tripping Alliance restrictions. We're not allowed to install superior armaments, but the treaty says nothing about defensive systems or multi-purpose technologies." 3 months into the project, the Horizon's dawn no longer resembled the derelict they'd received. Her outer hull had been reinforced with carbon-titanium composites developed for Earth's deep space habitats. The propulsion system was completely reimagined, with Singh's team creating a hybrid drive that combined Alliance principles with Earth's experimental full technology. But the true innovation lay in the systems Park had developed. Rather than traditional weapons, the ship now housed swarms of multipurpose drones, officially classified as maintenance and repair units. Each carried tools that, in an emergency, could easily become effective defensive measures. The brilliance, Park explained during a demonstration, is that they're networked through a quantum entanglement matrix. No signals to jam, no way to predict their movements. Maya watched as the small drones performed intricate maneuvers in the testing chamber. And Alliance inspectors will see. Maintenance drones conducting hull repairs, Park confirmed with a grin. Nothing in the treaty against a robust repair system. As the 6-month mark approached, what had once been a joke had become something the entire project team viewed with fierce pride. The Horizon's dawn had been reborn, but not as the Alliance expected. Chen's team had replaced the standard power core with Earth's newest fusion design, which was technically less advanced than high-end Alliance technology, but integrated in ways Alliance engineers would never have considered. The ship's computer systems now ran on quantum bioprocessors, organic technology that learned and adapted in ways purely mechanical systems couldn't match. "It's beautiful," Maya said as she stood on the newly completed bridge, running her hands over Earth-designed console interfaces that operated with both touch and thought recognition. Not just functional, elegant. Admiral Reeves, Earth Command's liaison to the project, seemed less convinced during his inspection. "The Alliance demonstration is in 2 weeks, Captain. They're expecting you to fail." "I'm counting on it, sir." "Explain." Maya gestured toward the view screen, which showed the exterior of the ship, still bearing much of its original scared appearance. "We've kept the outer hull deliberately unaltered in non-critical areas. Let them see what they expect to see. The true capabilities remain hidden until needed." "A wolf in sheep's clothing," Reeves mused. "More like a dragon in a lizard skin, sir." The day of demonstration arrived with an Alliance inspection team led by none other than Zilith himself. The Medusant made no attempt to hide his skepticism as Maya guided the delegation through the vessel, highlighting the modest improvements they'd made to life support and navigation. "Commendable efforts," Zilith noted with feigned politeness. "However, regulations require a practical demonstration of spaceflight capability. Perhaps a simple orbital maneuver would suffice. We wouldn't want to strain your adaptations." Maya nodded with exaggerated deference. "Of course, Ambassador. We've prepared a short flight plan approved by Alliance safety protocols." As the inspection team and Earth officials settled into the observation deck, Maya returned to the bridge where her crew waited at their stations. Gone was the diplomatic mask, replaced by the determined captain her crew knew well. "Let's show them what humans can do," she said as she took her command chair. "Lieutenant Kim, take us out. Standard thrust until we clear the station." The Horizon's dawn slipped from its dock with the expected sluggishness of a patched-together vessel. On the observation deck, Zilith watched with poorly concealed satisfaction. "Once we're clear of monitoring range," Maya said quietly, "execute Maneuver Phoenix." 5 minutes later, as the ship approached the designated testing area, Lieutenant Kim's fingers danced across her console. "Ready, Captain. Execute." In an instant, the Horizon's dawn transformed from lumbering hulk to something else entirely. The ship twisted in space with impossible grace, accelerating to speeds no Tetrian cruiser had ever achieved. Kim put the vessel through a series of complex evasive patterns that should have torn the aging frame apart. Instead, the ship responded as if it were an extension of her own body, the newly designed inertial dampeners compensating so smoothly that coffee didn't even spill on the bridge. On the observation deck, Zilith's tendrils had gone rigid with shock. "Impossible," he whispered. "The structural integrity." "Would you like to see more, Ambassador?" Maya's voice came through the communication system with unmistakable pride. We've only just begun. Proving humanity's worth. The demonstration of the Horizon's dawn sent ripples through the Alliance hierarchy. Technical specialists demanded to know how a supposedly inferior species had transformed a decommissioned vessel into something that outperformed modern designs. Political representatives voiced concerns about treaty violations. Military officials whispered about potential threats. Maya and her crew, meanwhile, returned to Earth space hailed as heroes. They had done more than salvage a ship. They had made a statement about humanity's rightful place among the stars. 3 months later, Maya was summoned to an emergency meeting at Earth Command Headquarters. Admiral Reeves looked grim as he activated the secure briefing room's display. "We've received an urgent communication from the Jericho outpost," he began. "A colony in the Outer Rim has gone silent. Alliance Command suspects a Scourge incursion." The Scourge, a hive-minded species from outside Alliance space, had been the galaxy's nightmare for generations. They consumed resources and lives with equal indifference, leaving devastated worlds in their wake. "They're requesting assistance," Reeves continued, "but most of their rapid response fleet is deployed handling a civil dispute in the Centauri sector." Maya understood immediately. "And we have the only ship fast enough to reach Jericho before it's too late." "Precisely. This isn't just a rescue mission, Captain. It's our chance to prove humanity's value to the Alliance. The Horizon's dawn is authorized for immediate deployment." Within hours, the Horizon's dawn was underway, its enhanced propulsion system pushing the boundaries of physics. The journey to Jericho, normally a 9-day trip, would take them just over 3. "This doesn't make sense," Park said during a strategy session in the ship's war room. "Why send us? The Alliance has at least 2 battle groups that could respond." "Politics," Dr. Chen suggested. "If we succeed, they acknowledge our usefulness. If we fail, we're expendable," Maya finished, a convenient lesson about human overconfidence. The crew fell silent, processing the implications. "Then we don't fail," Maya stated simply. "Dr. Singh, I want our propulsion pushed to maximum. Lieutenant Park, prepare the defense swarms for potential first contact with the Scourge. Dr. Chen, the power core needs to be operating at peak efficiency." As they approached Jericho, long-range sensors detected what they'd feared: a Scourge harvester ship in orbit around the colony world, with smaller vessels swarming the surface. "Scourge vessels detected," Lieutenant Kim announced, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "1 capital ship, approximately 18 smaller crafts. The colony's defense grid is offline." Maya leaned forward in her command chair. "How many life signs on the surface?" "Approximately 4,000, concentrated in the main settlement. They've activated emergency shelters, but those won't hold against a determined attack." "And the Scourge haven't detected us yet?" Kim shook her head. "Our approach vector kept us in the planet's sensor shadow. We remain undetected for now." Maya turned to Park. "Options. Direct confrontation would be suicide," he said bluntly. "That harvester outguns us by several orders of magnitude." But he manipulated the tactical display, highlighting key points around the colony. "If we deploy our drones in these patterns, we could create enough disruption to evacuate the colonists." "Evacuation to where?" Chen asked. "We can't fit 4,000 people aboard." Maya studied the display, her mind racing through scenarios. "We don't need to. Look at the colony layout. Those are standard Alliance emergency bunkers. They're designed to withstand orbital bombardment. But the Scourge aren't bombarding," Park pointed out. "They're harvesting. They'll simply bypass the bunker's defenses." "Not if those defenses are enhanced," Maya countered, a plan forming. "Dr. Singh, could we modify our drone swarms to augment the bunker's existing defense grid?" Singh considered this. "Theoretically, yes. We'd need to establish a secure communication link, but once connected, our quantum processors could integrate with their systems." "And what about the harvester?" Chen asked. Maya smiled, the expression both confident and predatory. "That's where the rest of our drones come in. Not as a direct attack force, but as a distraction. The plan came together rapidly. The Horizon's Dawn would remain hidden while deploying 2 drone forces, one to reinforce the colonists' bunkers, the other to create a diversion that would draw the Scourge away from the settlement. "We only get one shot at this," Maya reminded her crew as they finalized preparations. "If the Scourge realize our true capabilities too soon, they'll concentrate their forces and overwhelm us." The operation began at 300 hours ship time. The first wave of drones, disguised with sensor-dampening technology, slipped through the Scourge perimeter and established connections with the colony's defense systems. Immediately, the bunker's shields strengthened, and their masked signatures made them appear less valuable as targets. The second phase proved more challenging, as the diversion drones activated, simulating resource-rich deposits on the far side of the planet. The Scourge Harvester dispatched only a portion of its forces to investigate. "They're not taking the bait," Park reported, frustration evident. "Only 6 of the smaller vessels have diverted. The others continue their approach to the settlement." Maya had anticipated this possibility. Initiate Protocol Chimera. This contingency was riskier, but potentially more effective. Rather than simply creating false readings, the Horizon's Dawn would make itself known, briefly, just long enough to appear vulnerable and draw attention. Emerging from sensor shadow in 3, 2, 1. Kim counted down. The Horizon's Dawn broke from its hiding place, sensors broadcasting at full strength, but transmitting false specifications that made the ship appear damaged and valuable. To the Scourge, it would look like a crippled vessel attempting to flee with precious cargo. The effect was immediate. The Harvester turned its massive bulk toward the new target, recalling its surface forces to intercept. "They're pursuing," Kim confirmed. "All Scourge vessels have broken contact with the colony." Maya nodded grimly. "Now comes the tricky part. Lieutenant Kim, execute Maneuver Icarus." The Horizon's Dawn seemed to falter, appearing to struggle as the Scourge closed in. Then, at the precise moment when capture seemed inevitable, the ship's true capabilities revealed themselves. The vessel surged forward with impossible acceleration, executing a tight loop around Jericho's largest moon before doubling back toward the Harvester. "Defense swarms, deploy in attack configuration," Maya ordered. From concealed bays throughout the ship's hull, hundreds of drones emerged, no longer disguised as maintenance units. They swarmed toward the surprise Scourge vessels, targeting propulsion systems and sensor arrays with surgical precision. The smaller Scourge ships, caught unprepared, fell into disarray. Several collided attempting to evade the unexpected threat. The Harvester, however, proved more resilient, its automated defenses activating to counter the swarm. "Harvester is charging main weapons," Park warned. "Impact in 30 seconds. Execute Phase 3, Maya responded calmly. As the Harvester's massive energy weapon prepared to fire, the Horizon's Dawn seemed to shimmer. The modifications Chen's team had made to the hull materials now served their true purpose, not just structural reinforcement, but energy redistribution. When the Harvester fired, its beam struck the Horizon's Dawn directly. Instead of vaporizing the smaller vessel, however, the energy spread across the hull in patterns of brilliant light. The ship's systems strained to channel the massive influx of power, but held, redirecting Harvester energy to propulsion and drone control. Chen shouted over the groaning of the ship's frame. Powered by the Harvester's own weapon, the drone swarm redoubled its assault. They no longer simply disabled. They systematically destroyed key systems throughout the Scourge fleet. Meanwhile, the Horizon's Dawn executed a series of maneuvers that should have been impossible, each bringing it into position to deploy additional drones against vulnerable targets. Within 20 minutes, the smaller Scourge vessels had been neutralized. The Harvester, damaged but operational, began to retreat from the system. "They're running," Park announced, disbelief evident in his voice. "Not yet, they aren't," Maya replied. "Lieutenant Kim, pursuit course. Let's make sure they can't return with reinforcements." The final phase of the encounter lasted less than 5 minutes. The Horizon's Dawn pursued the fleeing harvester to the system's edge, where a precisely targeted drone strike disabled its faster-than-light capabilities. Left with no means of escape and critical systems failing, the massive vessel self-destructed rather than risk capture. As the Horizon's Dawn returned to Jericho, Alliance emergency broadcasts filled the communication channels. The battle group that had been too far away suddenly appeared at the system's edge, too late to do anything but witness the aftermath of humanity's victory. Admiral Zilith himself led the Alliance delegation that boarded the Horizon's Dawn 12 hours later. His tendrils no longer twitched with amusement, but hung still with what Maya recognized as respect, or perhaps fear. "Captain Larson," he began formally, "on behalf of the Alliance Security Council, I extend our gratitude for your intervention at Jericho Colony. Your actions saved over 4,000 lives." Maya nodded acknowledgement. The Horizon's Dawn was simply fulfilling its purpose. Admiral, protection and service. Indeed. Zilith paused, clearly struggling with what came next. "The Council has reassessed certain provisions of Earth's admission treaty. It seems we may have underestimated humanity's potential contributions to Alliance security." "A natural mistake," Maya replied with deliberate politeness. "New perspectives often require time to appreciate. The Council requests a full technical briefing on the modifications made to this vessel," Zilith continued. "In exchange, Earth will be granted unrestricted access to Alliance technology databases and invited to participate in joint defense initiatives." Maya shared a quick glance with her officers before responding. "We would be honored to share our innovations, Admiral. After all, that's what Alliance partnership is about, combining strengths for the greater good." As Zilith and his delegation toured the vessel that had accomplished what an entire Alliance battle group could not, the message was unmistakable. Humanity had arrived, not as the junior partner the Alliance had intended, but as equals who had earned their place among the stars through ingenuity, courage, and the uniquely human ability to transform limitations into advantages. "They handed us a worthless ship," Shen remarked quietly as they watched the Alliance officials marvel at the drone control center. "And we made it invincible," Maya finished. "That's what humans do best."